Hey guys, this is Catherine from Catherine's Creation Co. My friend Keiko has asked me to do a galaxy tutorial for you all today. It'll look something similar to these, but galaxies never really turn out the same as another galaxy. They're all unique in their own way. My materials, this is Duck brand washi tape. I usually use Scotch. It seems to stick a little bit better, but this will work just as well without tearing the paper. I'm going to do this galaxy mainly with liquid watercolors, Ecoline and Dr Ph Martin hydrous watercolors, because liquid tends to be an easier way to learn galaxies in the beginning if you're just starting out doing them, but you can just as easily use the tube or the pan. It's just a little bit more difficult to get the colors to bleed. I'm gonna start by doing, instead of the wet on wet like you can do, I'm going to do wet on dry, where I'd start with the lightest color being white, because I want the middle to be white. And this is Arch's cold press watercolor paper. Next is the Ecoline light blue, and if you look closely you can see it bleeding into the white that I already laid down. Next is Ecoline light green. We're doing green and blue for this one. With galaxies, it's easy to kind of freak out because you're worried that it's not going great, but most of the time, if you just push past that, it actually turns out to be something beautiful. This was the Dr. Ph Martin Hydrous and Ultramarine. That was my larger round size 7 brush. I'm going to switch to my smaller Water Edition size 7 brush and pick up that dark blue and just move it around. I'm going to go back to the center, get more white. This is still the ultramarine liquid watercolor. If it starts to pool anywhere, you just blot it with the paper towel. Arches has definitely become my favorite paper for galaxies because it can get really wet without warping. Down by the tree line, I'm going to lighten it up so you can see the trees better. Again, trying to leave this part light. I'm going to take some of the Aloha Studios Moana Prussian Blue watercolor because it's really dark blue, and it's a favorite to use. Instead of black, I like using the darkest blue possible, but you can use black. Usually when I do my outer space galaxies, I use black. But with the landscapes, I tend to use just really dark blue. spreads very nicely. Then I'll grab my size 2 round brush to go in with more dark colors, but it won't spread completely to the color that's already been laid down, so it gives it more of a contrast. And again, using my number 2 to grab some white watercolor. This one's whole bean. And there's no right place to put it. It just, wherever. The dog's playing in the background. You just drop it in wherever. The more you do them, the more you figure out where you want stuff to go. No 2 galaxies are the same. This is still the Moana color from the Aloha Studios. Okay, maybe blot it one more time, and where the lighter spots from the paper towels, where it leaves lighter spots, is where I like to add in white dots, white watercolor dots for stars with a 00 detail brush. This light spot. And then, since the paper's still wet, it bleeds. It kind of looks like a star that's shining. Again, no right place to put it. You just put it where you feel like it, or where the lighter spots already are. Down here. And then do different sizes. Some stars shine brighter than others. Some are closer than others. The center is still wet, so I'm adding a little bit more dark blue. To kind of draw your attention to the center of the painting. And I like how it came out, so I'm gonna use my heat embossing tool for drying. So I use Dr. Ph Martin's bleedproof white and 2 old paint brushes. You could also use acrylic paint with a little bit of water and a toothbrush. Everyone's method is different. I like to use the paint brushes because I feel it gives a lot more variation in the sizes of stars than a toothbrush. And I don't have to get my fingers as dirty. And then where the bright stars are, just put some bigger white dots in the center, or sometimes on the side, doesn't really matter. of black, I tend to use Payne's Gray for my night landscapes, the trees or ground, whatever. And of course the trees that are further away will be lighter than the ones that are closest to you. So I've mixed up a little bit of Payne's Gray. And using my 00 detail brush, I'll go in and fill in some pine trees. These will be in the back, so they don't need to be perfect. And then to darken it up, I'm going to add more Payne's Gray to the light wash I had already mixed. And you want to make sure those trees are dry before starting the next layer of trees, or they'll bleed together. Okay, I'm gonna do one more layer of trees with the Payne's Gray, darkening the wash for last time. I'm gonna dry the trees. Pretty much it. I hope that you enjoyed the video and that maybe you learned something from it or something helped you. If you decide to recreate your own based off this video, I hope you will tag us so that we can see it. Thanks for watching.